So we've had a couple of new trailers drop recently. Obi-Wan, Kenobi, and the Moon Knight. Oh my. I was watching the recent podcast by Eric July, aka Young Ripa. He said something that really stuck with me. A good summary of something I've kind of been saying, a lot of us have been saying. But if a franchise you love has existed for a long time, been around for years or decades, forget about it, it's dead already. Because it is owned and controlled by people that don't care about it at all or don't care about it like we do. And that is really an excellent summary of everything that's gone on with Star Wars, with Star Trek, with what they've trying to bounce back from Ghostbusters, but you name it, everything that's been redone, expanded on, continued, soft rebooted, whatever it is, what they've really done is boot all of the fans that loved it clear in the butt and kick them out of it because they just produce more and more garbage that nobody asked for to be produced except, the infinitesimal 1/1000th of 1% of the population that is insane and communist and is psychologically so pathologically ill that they cannot empathize with anyone on screen that doesn't look like them, act like them, want to have sex with the people they do, you name it. Everything produced now checks the boxes. It's got to check the boxes, and you can easily predict everything that's going to happen. You know that white males are going to be weak, stupid cucks, or they're going to be evil, manipulative villains who then become weak, stupid cucks after the powerful woman that needs no man crushes them. You know that every man-based show, even like Moon Knight, Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're going to have a woman suddenly in the story that leads them around by the hand, like Boba Fett, when they completely cucked him, Beta Fett, Boba Cuck, whatever you want to call him. They're going to do this. It's sort of predictable that if someone is a sex pervert or a deviant, they're a hero. Anybody that's not white, not male, not straight, they're going to be good. We already know from the Kenobi trailer, suddenly there's a black woman wielding a lightsaber. Canon, that makes absolutely no sense, but of course, that doesn't matter hardly to anybody at the studios anymore at all. They already promised they're going to have some fights between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, which did not happen, cannot happen within the Star Wars universe. But hey, we just make it up as we go now, and it doesn't matter. Hop in that Jeep and fly it to the other side of the galaxy without a hyperdrive, and we'll just pretend that works, because that's where we are now. So, and we already know that the black, diverse woman wielding a lightsaber in the Kenobi trailer, you easily predict. She's either going to turn out to be a hero all along that is helping the rebels, or we're going to find some terrible, tragic reason that supposedly justifies why she's bad, because she can't be bad. She can't be the villain. Now, Kenobi could, because he's a white male and so far has been straight, but he's got to be the hero, so he'll instead just be weak and stupid and led around by women that do everything. And Moon Knight, I wanted to make this video not to just complain about the usual stuff, but the Moon Knight trailer is out, same stuff. We get a trailer that is not about the Moon Knight, it's about some woman that leads Moon Knight around by the hand and helps and saves him in the trailer. In the trailer already, she tells him what to do, he follows her, she beats the tar out of some guys, he says how awesome she is. It's like watching Hawkeye praise somebody that has accomplished nothing so far in the Hawkeye thing, which blessedly I didn't expose myself to, I only saw on clips. I haven't watched any of this nonsense since I turned off Bucky and Bird, when Pigeon and Snow Dude, that when we got to the walking through the neighborhood and being detained, I turned it off and I've not watched any of this. But the trailers give it all away. I know everything I need to know from the Moon Knight trailer. There's already a powerful woman that's going to lead him around by the hand, and he's weak and impotent and looks to her for guidance. But there's something worse. And I wanted to make this rant this morning because I want to be on record as predicting this. Now, I didn't collect a whole ton of Moon Knight comics, I'll admit this. But in the 80s, when I was reading the West Coast Avengers, I became familiar with the Moon Knight when he was on that team for a run. And I got to tell you, when they said they were making a Moon Knight series, who was not a huge character that I remember, the first little alarm that went off in my head was his multiple personality disorder. He has some sort of personality disorder, depending on how you interpret it. Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon that gave him his power, something about there was the background as a secret agent where Mark Spector was doing different personalities, and he sort of split and he schismed. Although it could be, in some versions of it, they are spirits of other people preserved by the extraterrestrial who masquerades as Khonshu, the moon god, that makes it sort of more science fiction-y plausible. And these spirits are inside his body, sharing his body. Well, one of those spirits happens to be a little girl. One of those spirits happens to be a little girl, and that was never really a big part of the plot, per se, at least in any of them that I read. Oh, but let's think about this. This is huge. This is huge for all the boxes you want to check and all this stuff that you make believe is groundbreaking, even though it's been done before. They are totally going to make that personality is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And if they ever need him to do anything really smart, that's the personality that's going to come up, because the girl gives it credibility. The little girl is going to empower it. But I will also predict, and I want to be on record, somewhere in his psyche, even in the visions, in the flashbacks, in whatever we get, we're going to get her sexualized. She will be objectified a la cuties. They will use her as a way to sexualize the situation, use the weird story of him being an adult male with a little girl inside his body during some sex act in order to depict on screen things that they wouldn't ordinarily have gotten away with and make it fit within this universe. Furthermore, they may tie in very much the idea that he's got gender dysphoria in some form because he's got a little girl trapped inside his body. You wait and see. And ultimately, and I know I'm cynical about all this because I've been watching them do it for years. And they started this stuff before I was born. They started moving all of the media and everything this direction. It's been in our TV, our movies. Since television was a thing, they've used it to promote these agendas that all lead in this direction. And now what we've seen over the last few years, so why suddenly, out of all the characters that you never used, why suddenly when you're recycling, you're bringing up the Miss Marvel that's only been around for a few years from a failed comic? Why would they actually go all the way back and grab Moon Knight? He wasn't huge back then because he's got this beautiful characteristic for them. He's got this thing with his personality and these spirits inside him that are perfect to use and manipulate to promote this agenda. Let's wait and see what happens. That's my prediction. I won't be watching any of it. I have no interest in watching Obi-Wan, Kenobi. I have no interest in watching any of the new Marvel stuff. I gave up the Star Trek stuff years ago. Only classic stuff that at least had, even when it had an agenda, it had a good story and generally a solid message of some form. Not anymore. Now it's just predictable, recycled trash. When I can watch the trailer and know the whole story, and then you watch it and that was the whole story, because I can predict, by putting yourself in the mind of, and this is the thing that's mind-boggling, the woke crowd is the most racist, sexist, bigoted thing that has ever existed. And they operate under this delusion that they're equaling things out, but all they're doing is blaming everything on groups of people. White, straight Christian has become the new Jew. That's the thing that it's okay for National Socialists to blame everything on. The new Nazi party is the woke movement, and everything has ever been the fault of white, heterosexual, particularly males, especially Christians. It's just ridiculous. It's tiresome. It's horrific propaganda. It's just so old. They've ruined and buried. But again, the intention is a cult like this that tears down monuments, changes history books. They've got to destroy the history of your heroes too. It is not a tangent or incidental that they have to cuck Captain Kirk right out of existence. Now he's going to be a sexual pervert that goes after Spock. They've got to cripple all of the heroes. Picard was alive to come back and cuck himself, to do a parody of himself where he's weak and stupid and gets lectured by people about how bad he is. I was never a fan of the character of Picard compared to Kirk, but it's still like, I didn't even know that he could be such a wimp. But the necessity of destroying cultural icons is the same thing as tearing down a statue, changing a history book, and burning other people's books, to literally destroy the intellectual properties that reflect even ancient mythology, that are part of that whole mythos of teaching lessons and morals about life, to pervert, subvert, and destroy them on purpose, to create more and more of just the filth of a world that's only garbage and only filled with garbage and populated with garbage.